Hey, I'm Roland, and we're here at Nubia at MWC 2019. And what we're looking at is probably, or most likely, the actual smallest 5G smartphone that you and I have seen so far. All the other devices are like 6.4, maybe 6 or 6.7 inches, like the Galaxy S10 5G, for example. This one is much smaller. I think it's a 5.5-inch screen. They couldn't really tell me because this is a pretty early prototype. It's called the Nubia Mini 5G, and it has been showing off here for a couple days. Nobody's really taking notice of it because it's just sitting right here on the side of the table a bit. It is running Android AOSP. Right now it's Android 9.0 Pie, based on it's a version that Qualcomm is using to optimize devices or for their reference designs. So this is what this is based on. It has a 5.5-inch LCD screen in this case. As you can see, if I basically swipe up here, there's a bit of a lighting problem down here, so it's just still a very early prototype. The screen has a resolution of 2160 by 1080, and also there's a pretty interesting other bunch of specifications for this. So it's running the Snapdragon 855. It does have the 5G modem in there. You can check if you look at the software. I just won't because I don't want you to see these. It has the SDX50 5G modem integrated. The octa-core SoC from Qualcomm goes up to 2.84 gigahertz, as we all know. That's the chip that's also used in a bunch of other devices from other manufacturers like LG, Samsung, and pretty much everybody else except for Huawei. This screen does not come with a notch. It just has a pretty standard design. They're using the same width on the bezels on the top and on the bottom. Up here is an 8 megapixel camera, though the software says it's a 16 megapixel camera, so I think this is not final. Also up here is your earpiece, and right next to that are the usual brightness and distance sensors. The whole thing comes in a metal frame that looks pretty decent. And if we go over to the back, you'll see that there is also the typical Nubia design. It kind of looks like the other Nubia devices that have been out for a while. There's been this mini range from Nubia for a bunch of years now. This up here is a 48 megapixel IMX586 sensor from Sony in here, so it definitely has this sensor in there. It has a 1.8 aperture, so that's pretty good. Also next to that is the 4 LED flash. Right now I think that's just 2 LEDs in there. And there's also a laser autofocus system that is supposedly in this device. Here's your fingerprint reader, so there's no under-screen fingerprint reader or anything like that because it's an LCD screen. I can't tell you much about the battery because this prototype doesn't have much of a real battery in there. I think it's a 1000 milliamp hour battery just to give it some autonomy when going out and doing some testing on this. I think they would put a pretty big battery in here. I'm thinking 3.5, maybe 4000 milliamp hours. Because it's not the thinnest device, and you also need a lot of power for that 5G tech that's in here because we're still in the first generation of that. On here on the side is an additional button that you can use to launch the camera or speech assistant, and on the other side are the volume rocker and the power button, but there's not much to say about the quality of this device yet because it's, as I said, just still a very early prototype. At the bottom there's a USB-C port and your single speaker. There's a speech mic over here, and on the top is only the hole for the auxiliary mic for noise cancellation, so there's no 3.5 millimeter headset jack. I'm thinking this will have a dual SIM setup, probably also extendable through micro SD. I'm not going to play around much with the software because, as you can see, it's a super early developer build. You can expect this device to come out in the coming months, and it will be definitely, for now at least, the smallest 5G phone there has been on this planet, at least when trying to go commercial with these devices. So that's just been a very quick look at the Nubia 5G or Nubia Mini 5G here at MWC 2019. I'm Roland, and if you like what I do, follow me on Twitter. You might see some leaks or videos like this one, and I'll see you later.